Good morning, good evening, good night, everyone. Welcome back to Lana's Little Things with me, Dr. Lana, specialist gerontologist, talking all things on living agelessly, family caregiving, the entrepreneurship life, and most important, well, one of my little heartstrings, bridging generational gaps. How was your week? Hope it was great. You didn't think it was still summer here in Barbados, but it's cooling down. So I hope it is where you are too, or at least you're managing with the weather. There we go. What are we going to talk about tonight on our medley? Well, infection. Not just infection in older persons. So we're going to stick to our seniors for now because next month, which is tomorrow, will be the beginning of Senior Citizens Month. And so we're going to have some special talks about them. But I just wanted to highlight something that caregivers, if you're in a family, whether it's a paid caregiver and you're in a family of caregivers, or you have to mix your jobs, or you want your children to understand and the whole family to pitch in if the person is aging at home in place, which is always probably more challenging, but safer overall. Well, nicer overall. Then you do have to a lot of patients this week and clients, and generally last couple of weeks, there has been an increase. It seems, at least here. You'll have to tell me in your country. You notice an increase in was getting up to flu season, but not that, but infection, urinary tract infections, not skin so much, but some respiratory infections, not necessarily pneumonia, but cold. However, and we had spoken about how dangerous uh, infections can be in older persons. So we'll keep it simple tonight. We'll talk about 3 reasons why seniors are more prone to infection. And this is, as you know, past 70, 75, and onward. Remember, for me, for you, ageless ones, 70 is the new 60, I know. But as you get older, you do have to keep things in mind. That's the reality, as one of my favorite cousins says. So what are we going to talk about? 3 reasons why seniors are more prone to infection. Why figuring it out is so challenging, and especially the older the person is, especially if they are having some form of inability to express themselves, whether it be dementia, whether it be a speech disorder, whether they had a stroke, whether their memory and just the process and the chronology of events might not be there. And you just see something wrong, but you don't know what it is. It's not going to fit everything, but gives you some guidelines. It gives you a little bit more as a family caregiver, just a little bit better understanding. Okay, when I see this sign, I need not panic, but we clear our heads. So here we go. So why are seniors in general, we're talking generally 70s and over, let's take to the strict definition of 60 or 65 and over, because that's generally quite healthy, most people are. Those who are older, imagine the immune system is less efficient, the cells come to the source slower, they're sluggish, their efficacy is not as it was before. The response time is not as it was before. And there may be other conditions. Remember, aging is not a disease, but there are other conditions that come with aging. So there may be lack of mobility, which may make someone more stay in bed more, which makes them more prone to lung and chest and bladder and skin infections. So that's their immune system. So what then plagues them? We just talked about it. Lung infections, pneumonia, infections on the skin, and bladder infection. But the reason is the immune system cannot respond as it did before. With a younger person, 20s, 30s, they have a little something, something. First of all, they can pick it up and they're like, I have a cough, or I'm having a little burning, and they pick it up. The other challenge with seniors is the second one. why they may be more prone, they're more prone to an infection getting worse too, is that they may not be able to articulate what it is. Or you may just see them just trying to tell you something you don't know what, especially if they can't really bring it to the fore. And then one infection can lead to another infection in a senior person, again, because of the immune system. So if you have a lung infection, that's not cleared, it can go through into the system and lead to a bladder infection. And the bladder infection, in turn, if that urine is held, can just cause illness in general, fever, and so on. And that can, in turn, with the immobility, affect the lungs and affect the skin because they're not wanting to move because they feel sick. So you see, it feels like a vicious spiral. Ay, but we're not into vicious spirals. We're into solutions. Okay. As one of my dear friends would say, it's not just focus on the problem. You gotta know the problem though. But we're gonna deal with some solutions. Or at least helps. Just let me know what your main challenge is with the person you're having to deal with caregiving and what you have found to work. So we'll move on a little bit. The problem also is not just the morbidity and mortality or the sickness or death risk that comes with being older and having that um, propensity for infection. It is that it's just every illness takes them down and declines, makes it worse. So every time you get an illness and you already have a frailty or underlying condition, it makes the next one worse. So you really want to curb it, um, recognize it and curb it. You may not be able to eliminate all, but at least you know why. The risk of hospitalization also increases, and who's going to want that? So those are the three reasons: the immune system, one infection leads to another, and they're in a lack relative inability to articulate. So how do we get? Where do we go from there? How do you find the next step? How do you know what the signs are? And you know what the signs are? None. Sometimes. Yes, none. Can you believe it? There might be absolutely nothing in the early stages that can clue you in. However, because older ones may not be able to mount a fever, like you and I can get. You may have a younger person have a, oh, I don't feel great. You have a fever. You don't feel well. So you have the obvious discomfort. You may have an obvious cough. You may feel short of breath, but you're moving around. Think about it. What happens with older persons? First thing, most common, they stop drinking as much. They may become, they may not eat as much, and they may be withdrawn or they may be more confused. Now, how can you tell if that's their general state? Especially though, if you're the one who's with them all the time, that's why it's always good to have the same caregiver or within the same realm of people who they recognize so that you can know the pattern and then hand over to each other. Well, Tuesday, mom or dad was okay, but I saw a change for Wednesday. So it's not a surprise to anybody, or it's not a surprise to the doctor when they come, or they don't get unnecessarily worse. So the typical fever, chills, aches, pain, they may have, but typically it's just loss of appetite, a little bit of confusion, and not eating as appetite for food and drink, and not eating as and not communicating. Yes, withdrawn. So that's how you can tell. Because a thermometer might not show you the temperature. They're not going to mount a temperature because their immune system is depressed. So not depressed, just suppressed. So what can you do then? We know why, we know the signs, and what can you do? Just three basic things again. Threes and threes. Basic hygiene, and that is not, and that's just a reminder. So we go back to basic hand washing, sanitizing, observing, uh, maybe for sounds in the chest, observing if they have a slight cough, observing to see if they're chatting the same way, and observing the scent or the sounds of the urine and the stool, and looking at the skin if you have to deal with them every day, um, in that sense, to see what might be happening. So, hope this was helpful. Tell a friend If this has been your experience and it has made it put some clarity in your brain, let me know. As always, we're here to help. We're just here to be in this together. And don't worry, you got this. We got this. So never fear. If you find this been helpful, remember to like and subscribe. Press the bell for more notifications. Until then, from my heart to yours. Yes, infection might be a part of it, but don't worry, we got this. So have a good morning, evening, and night. Bye bye.